Hey, everybody. Happy Monday to you. So glad to be on. There are 21 of you already in the room, and that is awesome. Sister Walker, I think you were number one tonight. I hope I don't have somebody block. Oh, Sister Clark, I'm sorry. There was a box blocking. Sister Clark, let me fix that. Whoops, Sister Clark is number one. All right, there we go. Sister Clark was number one in the room tonight. I'm so glad to see you all again, Sister Walker. I am with you. I am absolutely still floating from this weekend. So I'm so happy that so many of you joined. It was pretty incredible. I'm so grateful to God. I really am. And so, yes, I'm still floating. It's 7:01. Wow. I thought I was on a few minutes early just to kind of hang out. But I'm glad that you all are doing well. Good evening, good evening, good evening, family. Sister Ruthie, you got it. Good evening, family. That's right. This is our family. So glad to see everybody on. Who was with us this weekend? Who was with me and Sister Walker this weekend? You're going to see an email come out that I'm going to ask for your feedback so that we can figure out if we want to do this again and what we enjoyed and what we will do differently next time. So yes. Oh, hey, Sister Chippy. Thank you. Awesome. Hey, Sister Sandra. Absolutely. All right, there's Miss Robbie. Awesome. Well, I'm glad to see you all on. We've got 15 verses of scripture tonight, our final study in the book of Genesis. Go ahead and begin to drop your subjects in the chat box so that I can see what your titles are this week. My lesson title is God's Plan Revealed. God's Plan Revealed. Sister Sherman says revealed love. Okay. Y'all know I have to write these down. I don't have all publishers' books. God's Plan Revealed. Okay. Love prevails overall. Thank you, Sister McLean. Prevails over all. All right. Sometimes there's a third one, so I'm watching for there it is. No, revealed love. I've got that. Love. There it is, Mother Ricks. Love for one another. All right, we got them. Well, I'm glad to be back with y'all tonight. I took a break yesterday morning. I kind of just, when I woke up, I was like, nope, I'm not ready to be on YouTube. I'm not ready. But I did have Sunday school with my class. I hung in there for church. And as soon as church was over, I put some sleep on the record yesterday. Yes, I did. Anyway, let's go ahead and get into Genesis chapter 45. Verses 1 through 5 are our printed text. I will read. If this is your first time in Markup Monday, we want to say welcome. Here are the rules. In fact, if you're new, let us know in the chat box that it's your first time so that you can watch the love of this community get around you. There are 135 of you in the room and only 43 of you have clicked the like button, so please do that. You know that Markup Monday never costs you a thing, and it doesn't cost you a thing to click that like button. We also always provide the free template for you to download. So hopefully you've already printed your template and you're ready. When you follow along with this, you are basically creating your own personal study plan that you will be able to follow this week. And then when we come back to review the lesson on Thursday, or if you join me next Sunday, then we will have had plenty of time to dig into everything. Let's go ahead and pray and then we'll get started. Father, we thank you once again for allowing us to come together in this space. We thank you for time and opportunity that you give us to be students of your word. God, we love you and we love your word. You are just an amazing God, and we thank you for being our God. We thank you that you're bigger than anything that life brings our way. And through your word, we learn how to work through life's challenges. We love you because your word is life and Sunday school is life, and you're helping us to be better stewards of your word, better carriers of your word, and most of all, you're helping us to be able to apply your word. We thank you, God, that we don't sit in this space just to be holders or to flex our muscles mentally and show what we know, but God, we're here so that your word can take root in us. God, it's always our prayer that before we stand before anyone to teach on a Sunday, that you will allow your word to take root in us, to allow it to come alive in us, to challenge us in the places that we need to be challenged. God, we love you. I pray that you will meet every need of every person who will join us tonight, and even bless those who will catch the replay. We love you and we give you glory. In Jesus' name, amen. All right, we're going to get started. And for clarity, again, if this is your first time on, this is not a teaching of the lesson. We are only here to preview the lesson. We're using my soda pop method of Bible study. So this is just the scripture reading and the observation of the text. As we go through, I'm going to read all 15 verses, then we'll go back and kind of take them. I kind of have them chunked like 2 or 3 at a time. And all we're going to look at is exactly what you observe in the text. What do you see? What does it make you think of? And because we are now 4 weeks into studying Joseph, what does it remind you of, or what connections are you making, or how do you see the pieces actually coming together? All right, Genesis chapter 45, verses 1 through 15. And I see somebody asking about the Soda Pop acronym. I will actually link the Soda Pop video. I'll put it in the comments after this video is over, and you can go back and check out. I have a full video on what it stands for. Verse 1. Then Joseph could not refrain himself before all them that stood by him. And he cried, "Cause every man to go out from me." And while Joseph made himself known unto his brethren, and he wept aloud. And the Egyptians and the house of Pharaoh heard. And Joseph said unto his brethren, "I am Joseph. Doth my father yet live?" And his brethren could not answer him, for they were troubled at his presence. And Joseph said unto his brethren, "Come near to me, I pray you." And they came near. And he said, "I am Joseph, your brother, whom ye sold into Egypt. Now therefore be not grieved, nor angry with yourselves that ye sold me hither. For God did send me before you to preserve your life. For these 2 years had the famine been in the land, and yet there are 5 years in the which there shall neither be earing nor harvest. And God sent me before you to preserve you a posterity in the earth, and to save your lives by a great deliverance. So now it was not you that sent me hither, but God. And he hath made me a father to Pharaoh, and the Lord of all his house, and a ruler throughout the land of Egypt. Haste ye and go up to my father, and say unto him, Thus saith thy son Joseph, God hath made him Lord of all Egypt. Come down unto me, tarry not. And thou shalt dwell in the land of Goshen, and thou shalt be near unto me, thou and thy children, and thy children's children, and thy flocks, and thy herds, and all that thou hast. And there I will nourish thee, for yet there are 5 years of famine, lest thou and thy household and all that thou hast come to poverty. And behold, your eyes see and eyes of my brother Benjamin, and that it is my mouth that speaketh unto you. And ye shall tell my father of all my glory in Egypt, and of all that ye have seen. And ye shall haste and bring down my father hither. And he fell up on his brother Benjamin's neck and wept. And Benjamin wept upon his neck. Moreover, he kissed all his brethren and wept upon them. And after that, his brethren talked with him. All right, we are 4 weeks into the story of Joseph. Before we just jump into the actual printed text, I want to ask you, and good evening to everybody who joined. I want to ask you, just looking at your title, what are you thinking of as you think about love revealed, or love prevails over all, love for one another, God's plan revealed? How does your title of your lesson somewhat resonate with you? How does that, thank you so much, Sister Griffin. How does that title resonate with you? Finally, that's what Sister Nydia says, finally. And it's so interesting because some of the teachers have mentioned that in other forums, that we're so ready to get to the end of the story, but yeah, we're finally at what it was all for. Like, yeah, when God's plan finally, like you finally see what it all meant. God is about to shake things up for them. Can't hold back my love. How was love revealed? Okay, Sister Sandra, I like that. Love covers all, Sister Pamela says. The manifestation, Montrose McGee says. Welcome to the newbies. I'm just saying that. Joseph's true motives were shown. God has a plan. God has me in his plan of favor. Sister Dorsey, I somewhat agree with you. As I reflected on the title, I wrote down 3 things. I wrote down that time reveals. I wrote down that we can't always see God's plan as we walk it out. And specifically, how do I trust that God is in control even when his plan is still unfolding. So those are the things that I'm kind of thinking about as I look at this title. Now I see. The Unity study is struggles with love. The truth is disclosed. You're about to see something. God's vision is coming true, that he is a promise keeper. God's plan will be victorious. I love that. Welcome, Sister Grace. We're so glad to have you. Thank you so much. God sees the bigger picture, Brother Donald, and I agree with you. So always spend some time looking at your subject, because you want to be able to relate that as you get into the actual text of the lesson. From a background perspective, I'll be honest, my background is blank, only because this is week number 4. So I feel like I know a lot of what I already needed to know. You may have to give like the 2-minute drive-through version if you're teaching, because if we're trying to grow our Sunday schools, the one thing you never want to assume is that you may not have someone new. And so you owe it to the people who, if you have new people, just be prepared to give that background. But let's go ahead and look at verses 1 and 2. I'll read and you begin to tell me what you see in verses 1 and 2. I don't need you to explain it to me. This is just a raw observation. What do you see? How does it make you feel? What sort of stands out to you? Verse 1. Then Joseph could not refrain himself before all that stood before him, and he cried, "Cause every man to go out from me." And there stood no man with him, while Joseph made himself known unto his brethren. And he wept aloud, and the Egyptians and the house of Pharaoh heard. What happened in private is about to be revealed in public, Sister Courtney says. Then G. Cox says, so we're seeing that there is a continuation of the story. I agree that you should probably go back and just fill in the blanks, just figure out what's happened all in the middle of the story. You know where we were last week with his brothers who come into Egypt to buy grain. It's during the famine. Even if you don't want to read, you know how I feel about the little man on the Bible app. Let him read to you. He's fantastic. But go ahead and bridge those pieces so that you understand the then. Let's see what happened before the then. Sister Carol is saying the same thing. There is the emotion of the character of Joseph. Montrose McGee says Joseph was overcome with emotion. Wow. It is okay for men to cry. Men's classes, I know that y'all deserve some private time on that subject. It's okay for men to cry. Why did he tell everyone to leave? So we see an emotional moment. You all are saying the same thing. Uncontrolled emotion, Elder Kelly said. He can't help himself anymore, Free Living says. And he's so happy that he cannot contain himself. I kind of just called it I don't know how to describe it except a moment of bursting emotion. And I just had a lot of emotion, a lot of energy. He can't take it anymore. Why the tears? Sister Ruby Butler wants to know. Exposed and reveal. Brother Brandon says, before this, Judah was just told of his decree and how that got Benjamin to him. And so, yes, we're all saying that there is emotion. What is the distinction between the Egyptians and the house of Pharaoh? Excellent, Sister Sandra. I appreciate that. So we see overflow, finally with the family after being in a foreign land. Sister Sabrina says, Elder Kelly says, love breaks down the prime minister. Absolutely. G. Cox says he needed a private moment. Absolutely. So a private moment is created. There's an emotional outburst that I see. I said the same thing, G. Cox, with the private moment. I said that he creates a space to be alone. And I kind of wanted to know, like, why? And I can kind of insert my own thoughts in that, but I wonder if, as I read and study, if I will learn anything, whether it's in a commentary or anything, about why he would have created that private moment. He could not keep up the front in front of other people, Courtney Briscoe says. All right. What else did I say here? I see the emotion. He cries aloud. And I noted here that he's crying so loudly. Like, this is a whole lot of it's okay to cry. People on the outside here, and they all start talking about it. So this must not have been common for him to cry. And it certainly was not common for him to cry at this level. So, y'all know my mind is creative. I can just see and hear him doing a whole lot of weeping aloud. Thank you, G. Cox. You were helping me tonight. You're helping with my words. So lots of tears. Sister Vanessa for the win. The ugly cry. Gospel Work says that officials can't cry, and that's a whole conversation. Leaders seeing emotion of leaders. So that's something that you definitely can talk about. Good evening, Patrice. Good evening. Let's go ahead to, wait, I see something interesting. Montrose McGee said that Jesus wept when Lazarus died. You thought about that. Okay. And we have been making some messianic connections. So very appropriate here that we see that Joseph cried just like Jesus cried. All right. Why couldn't Joseph refrain himself? Let's go ahead to verse 3. I'm going only to verse 3. And Joseph said unto his brethren, I am Joseph. Doth my father yet live? And his brethren could not answer him, for they were troubled at his presence. All right. Mother Otis says, love, hate, restoration. Why so much going on that he could not hold it back? Before Joseph is interrupted, they hear in their own language. Sister Barbara, that's interesting because when we left him last week, that's why I said we need to figure out what happens in between. Because you're right. When we saw him last week, he was speaking through an interpreter. So let's go ahead and open that up. They were scared, Free Living says. And I think that that's interesting because you probably remember that as I've gone through this, I started this study by saying we are always like Team Joseph because we know how this story is going to work. Everybody's got feelings in this story, and we see that there are feelings here on both sides. So the brothers' jaws have dropped. They have heard shocking news, G. Cox says. So Joseph, on the one hand, is concerned about his father, who said that. The comments are moving fast. That's Brother Claude Whitaker, that he is concerned. It is a tender moment, Sister Burnett. And a tender moment where we see Joseph's concern, his love, his overflow. He's asking about his father like that. And here's what I thought about. I wrote this like, so is what you said really true? Because remember in last week's lesson, they've already told him our father is back in Canaan. Like we're 10 guys and there's a brother back there and we got one. We don't really know where he is, but we're we're a group of 12 brothers. So they've already said, so now here he is, he's asking the same question that they've already told him. So I noticed that they are speechless. The brothers are in shock. They thought he would be dead, Mother Ricks, because the last time they saw him, it just, they left him to be sold. He was sold, he was gone. And so now the flashback, they are still evil liars, Faye McClain says. He did not believe what his brothers said, Mother Ricks. And it's been a while since the last visit. He is still alive. So there's shock, there's disbelief. And yes, Sister Ruthie, he's alive. Reminds you of somebody else, doesn't it? When people were shocked to know he's alive. Okay. All right. It was like they saw a ghost, Sister Veronica. Absolutely. So I just said that they were at a loss for words. And his first question was about his father. Verses 4 and 5. Let's go there. And Joseph said unto his brethren, come near to me, I pray you. And they came near. And he said, I am Joseph, your brother, whom you sold into Egypt. Now, therefore, be not grieved nor angry with yourselves that ye sold me hither, for God did send me before you to preserve life. Listen, I need Reverend Flowers tonight. Where's Reverend Flowers? Reverend, I feel it right here. All right, I'm trying to hold it back because I haven't seen those who accuse me of teaching from Arkansas. I don't want to call their names because they're probably going to say that I'm not going to teach. All right. Hey, Sister Brenda, we're glad you made it. Joseph is older. The brothers are now understanding what and why he asked those questions. It's starting to make sense for them. Several of you are saying that there is a message of forgiveness. Forgive yourself. Sister Nydia says he had to reintroduce himself. Let me introduce myself. I am Joseph. So there is shock. There's a moment of forgiveness here. We see compassion, Sister Sharita says. Perspective of experience, Sheena O says. And Mother Otis says that he's glad to see them. It was the plan, Cleo Wilson. It was God's plan. And I literally underlined the words, God sent me. God did send me before you is what it says, but God sent me is what I wrote down. That's why I need Reverend Flowers, because that I would work with that. God sent me. Yes. All right. Love is out front, Delinda Dawson says. And forgive yourself. It's okay, Sister Edna. Forgive yourself, Sister Barnett. This is God's doing. Many years have passed. And I think that's interesting with many years having passed. Sister Clark, and yet he still has to speak to a place of guilt. Oh, I know that was probably cheating. Sister Cheryl wants ice cream. But I just think that is interesting that many years have passed, and yet he has to speak to a moment. Healing Hearts Gospel Work says he has to speak to that breach. The brothers are speechless. 20 years has passed. There's restoration. I see your comments here. Jesus saved our life. Wow. And Joseph saves his brother's lives. Another messianic connection. The child grew into a leader and a man. That's kind of Jesus-like too, Mother Rich, truth be told. There is, Sister Melissa says, reconciliation. God-ordained tasks must be acknowledged, Sister Griffin says. Can you imagine the brothers explaining to Jacob how Joseph was sold into slavery and how the story unfolds? I think there's a whole lot our minds can get creative on, because remember, they told Dad, oh, he probably got eaten by an animal or something. I don't know where he is. And now to go back and say that he's alive. The brothers were still haunted by shame. Brother Randy, I think that is a great call out. And as you're reading, the questions that you have, and the reason I say that we need to kind of sit with this and see how it makes us feel, is these are the questions that bring out the life discussions for us. So just like we can insert ourselves into the time and the hurt and how things still sit there sometimes, that is the conversations that you're going to be able to raise with your classes, and not just tell them about the story. Don't just rehearse the story, raise the life conversation. All right. I said it was a reckoning moment with the past, poor and harmful choices. I noted those. I actually underlined come near to me. And I just said, that's a scary request. You want me to come over there to you? And the last time I was near you, I wasn't kind to you. What are you going to do when I get close to you? So that's just how it made me feel. Let me see what else you're saying. One lie leads to another. God's plan is in motion. The brothers probably remember the dreams. Sister Grady, absolutely. They remember the dreams. And all of that has to come rushing back. Okay, I'm not going to teach. I'm cheating. All right. Reminds you of Jesus with Thomas, Sister Jeanette Joseph says. All right. And Sister Dora Barron says, God reveals the plan when it gives him the most glory. The example for Lazarus was in 4 days. Love it. And Sister Myra, hey, why is it that the brothers would not tell Joseph his father was still alive? Okay, we're going to take that as the question. All right, last one, G. Cox, me too. What you going to do? Let's go to verses 6 and 7. For these 2 years hath the famine been in the land, and yet there are 5 years in which there shall neither be earing nor harvest. And God sent me before you to preserve you a posterity in the earth, and to save your lives by a great deliverance. Let's see what you're saying in verses 6 and 7. Can God use you? The brothers felt guilty for treating him like that. Hey, Brother Booker, Joseph's prayers were being answered, and his dreams were coming true. And what is a famine? Thank you, Sister Carol Mills, because again, you just never assume that everybody has kept up with this story. So identify the famine, be able to go back and quickly reference, when this famine was talked about, make those connections for those who are following along with you. Generation curse has to stop. If you go back, it had to start somewhere. Sister Olds, I like the verbiage of a great deliverance. Absolutely. I love that too. Joseph had a concern for his family and their well-being. Oh, wow, Brother Claude, in many ways. Absolutely. He is the savior of his family. What you did for evil, God did for good. M.R. Walker says, and Sister Robbie says, I made right with God, and I'm making it right with you. That is a huge conversation. That right there. Lots of family relationships in these Joseph stories that a lot of us can connect with and need to respond to as we see. And I'm not going to teach, but just know that it's there. And I'm going to ask you to stay prayerful this week as you minister to family relationships, not just telling the story, but literally feeling the heart of what's going on. All right, God is still honoring Abraham's promise, Brother Brandon says. It's the manifestation of the dreams. Sister Brenda says God's plan has come to pass and they realize it. Elder Kelly says Joseph confirmed that there were still 5 years to go. And I thought that was interesting, Elder Kelly, because they don't have any idea necessarily how long this famine is to last. And so Joseph acts on what he knows, noted that there would be no activity in the field. And he's telling that to men who are farmers. Their job is the field. And I just wrote down they are field men. When we first met them at the beginning of this study, they were out with their herds. So they care about what happens in the herds in the field. I see repetition here. What does earring mean, Sister Ruby? Absolutely. He is promoting reconciliation. Great, great, great. Joseph feared God, and we continue to see that. Sister Faye McLean says, good evening, Sister Linda. And Joseph is prepared for the future. Joseph is prepared for the future of others. I feel like this story is speaking to me on staying prayerful. I love that. Thank you, Sister Patricia, for your transparency. Joseph has a chance to get even, but he chooses to forgive. And that is a carryover even from last week, from yesterday's lesson. You know, when we have that chance, what do we do? And is the reconciliation more important, or is our getting even? You know, what's driving you? What's important? Although the brothers see deliverance through Joseph, they're wondering what is next. John, oh, that's Elder Butler. Hey, the dysfunctional family has been reconciled. Good evening, Sister Elizabeth. God's plan is revealed. All right. Okay, he's a type of Christ, Sister Melissa. Absolutely. I see repetition here that God sent me. There's repetition in to save you. And when I read that a couple of times, I just kind of felt like that was good news in the midst of a bad time. Like there is a famine all around you. There's not enough resources. You're here because you're trying to save a family, and there is a plan. Like that's good news in the midst of a bad time. I just kind of wrote down, I wonder if that was hard for the brothers to hear or to believe. Like this is a lot. Like I came here for grain. You already taken me through. You put me in jail. You told us we had to go back and we had to prove. This has just been a lot. I wrote down this is a lot. And so for the brothers, this has to feel like a lot to believe or to hear, that God sees and he's already provided a plan for them to be saved. And the word deliverance, I think somebody's already mentioned that. Salvation and deliverance are the two big messages I see in verse 7. God sent me ahead to Egypt for you, Elder Kelly. Oh, Reverend Flowers, why won't you come rescue me tonight? Where are you? I need you. All right. Way before Moses, Christopher Galloway says, all right, love covers a multitude of faults. All right, let's go ahead and look at verse 8. I did verse 8 by itself. So now it was not you that sent me hither, but God. He had made me a father to Pharaoh and Lord of all his house and a ruler throughout the land of Egypt. I think Joseph was trying to test their motives before Free Living says the brothers and felt turmoil in short time. Nothing was compared to the length of the suffering that Joseph endured. Hi, Sister Laura. Okay, I can second that. All right. God forgives us and we have to forgive others. Sister Burnett says in verse 8, I see like, so it's kind of like a conclusion for me. Like it wasn't you. The conclusion of all this is it wasn't you. You didn't do this. And I see again for the third time, this is God. And when I connect it back to the subject, God's plan. This is God. This is God. This is God. This is God's plan, not yours. And I see three things in here that God did in his plan. He made Joseph a father to Pharaoh, Lord of all his house, and a ruler throughout all Egypt. So that's the three things I see. Yes, Sister Laura, 3 times. This is God. This is God. This is God. What are you in the middle of that just seems crazy? I'm off script now, but I got to ask you, what are you in the middle of that just seems crazy? And this is God. This is God. This is God. Let's go to verses 9 through 11. Haste ye and go up to my father and say unto him, thus saith thy son Joseph, God hath made me Lord of all Egypt. Come down unto me, tarry not. And thou shalt dwell in the land of Goshen, and thou shalt bear unto me, thou and thy children and thy children's children and thy flocks and thy herds and all that thou hast. And therefore there I will nourish thee, for yet there are 5 years of famine, lest thou and thy household and all that thou hast come to poverty, except what God allows. Joseph refers to him as the father of Pharaoh. I wrote that in a different color, Sister Patricia. I wanted to understand more about the father of Pharaoh. Brother Claus says, you sold me, but You did this, but God sent me. This is God's plan. Oh, Sister Grady, this pandemic. What are we in the midst of? That this is God, the pandemic. All right. All right. All right. Wow. Let's see here. Your book skipped verse 9, Sister Laura. Okay, got you. God will provide. It's not hard to forgive when God is in the mix. Sister Courtney says Joseph wants the brothers to know that God did this so the brothers would not get credit for what is happening now. Yeah, no, they get no credit for this. They didn't even see this coming. You didn't plan this. You get no credit for this. In verses 9 through 11, I see a call for them to hurry. And Sister Myra, I'm with you. Can you imagine the looks on their faces? And Sister Myra, it's interesting that you say that because, again, for me, he's just giving like this unbelievable announcement. Hey, look at here. Look under all this makeup right here in this eyeliner. It's your boy. It's me. It's Joseph. Woo-hoo. Remember the one you left in the pit? Where's my coat, by the way? It's me. Listen, is my dad really still alive? Okay, now listen. Hurry. Get up and go tell him that he needs to come back. Like, again, that just feels like a lot for me. It's a lot to process. And now he wants him to hurry. They've just gotten some pretty shocking news. And now he wants them to hurry and go get their father. Swiftly go get your father. Sister Darlene, where is Goshen? Let's go there. So you're going to hurry, go get the father. And you've got to tell him something. They're given an assignment. Go, hurry. Tell. He is now commanding them. I know, Sister Cheryl, ice cream. The very thing that he said would happen is happening. He is now commanding them. He is telling them what to do, and they're about to have to do it if they want to live. All right. So tell them that Joseph is a leader now. He's in Egypt and to come here. He wants his father to come. And yes, Cleo Wilson, he's saying to his brothers, I got you. Mother Otis says history does not repeat itself. Why are there so many dysfunctional families today? And there are. Dysfunction is everywhere. Every family is kind of working through something. He's telling his family, though, to come back down here and you're going to live I got a place for you to live. Now, you're not coming here to Egypt. I got a place for you over here in Goshen. Sister Patricia says, well, where is Goshen? And we can look that up. But does anybody else remember Goshen a couple of weeks ago? Did anybody else remember that? Like the very first week, I think it was. Mm-hmm. Not our first time seeing Goshen. So go back and familiarize yourself with Goshen. And somebody else just said something that I wrote down. Their brother Randy. I know you can't see it in my little pink writing right there. I wrote the same word Brother Randy wrote. I don't know if you can see it. Everybody. Go get everybody. Go get the brothers, your wives, your kids, get the goats, get the cows, get the pigs, get the sheep, get everything that's important to you. Bring it all down here so that everything can be saved. Go get everybody. Let me see how the Great Commission. You see 5 years of famine. His dream has come true. Joseph is humble. He doesn't gloat. He is not bitter. Now, you know, that's a whole, we were accusing him of some other stuff just a few weeks ago. Oh, he was arrogant with his coat. Oh, he was a tattletale. Now we're saying he's a humble man. Look at this. It all comes full circle. I will take care of you. Ice cream for Sister Cheryl. All right. I am Joseph, Sister Willow says. Donald Lawrence sings a song about Goshen. God is merciful. His blessings, he's blessing even when it's not deserved, Sister Sabrina says. Sister Dora says, Joseph wants all saved like Jesus wants all to be saved, for sure. Sister Myra says, Goshen is a fertile place near the Nile where there is food and there is water. Just spoiler alert, absolutely go back to your first lesson and refresh yourself on where, you're absolutely right, but also refresh yourself on where we've seen Goshen before. Everything is about to come to pass where Joseph was left, Sister Linda. See, you coming on through, Sister Linda? Mercy was shown to his brother. God is in the midst. He can change anyone. We see forgiveness in actions. All right, Goshen, Sister Pamela says, is in Lower Egypt. All right, what else do I see here? I just noted that he wanted his family to be close to him and that I'm going to make sure that you have what you need. In the midst of lack, he was willing to make sure that they had what they need. And I wrote down Hakuna Matata. No worries. I'm not going to say for the rest of your days, but it means no worries for the next 5 years. And that's what he says in here. Like, you're not going to worry about anything for the next 5 years. All right, we got 4 verses to go. My time is 7:34. And behold, your eyes see, and the eyes of my brother Benjamin. Let's go to verses 12 and 13. That it is my mouth that speaketh unto you. And ye shall tell my father of all my glory in Egypt, and of all that ye have seen, and ye shall haste and bring my father down hither. I feel like he's repeating. He's reiterating. Maybe they're moving too slow. Listen, I know you're in shock. Same thing. Go. You need to get up and go do what I'm saying doing. This is maturity on a whole nother level. Sister Cheryl Berkeley says, absolutely. Love has actions. Love intercedes. Sister Hawkins says, provider, protector of his people. Sister Laura says, Sister Brenda, yes. I see, behold, that always means look to me. You'll see my brother Benjamin, and he's gonna basically he'll know it's me. You'll know he's gonna know that I said it. And you need to tell my father again. Run and tell that. Go tell him what's going on here. Tell him what you've seen. In other words, y'all remember this? How this made me feel. Who used to take back the reports, and now he's sending his brothers to take reports back to his father. That used to be his job to take back. Yes, it is I who is giving the command and the order, G. Cox says. Repetition denotes the importance of hurrying. Absolutely. Open your mouth and say something. That's what our youth choir sings. Open your mouth and say something. Joseph is reassuring them that he means what he said. Go quickly and comfort my father. And Sister Sharon, that's a whole nother conversation, because he has to know his father has been concerned. He does indeed. That is why he thought they were spies. Sister Burnett says, God can flip the script and get to stepping. Sister Myra says, or Sister Patrice says, hurry, in a sense that he doesn't want to lose any more time because he's already lost so many years. I agree with you. And I also think he's just in a hurry to make sure that they're in a good place. I really do. Joseph told them to move out. Jacob was 130 years old by now. There was no time to waste. Okay. All right. Finally, let your family know that you love them while you still have time. Thank you, Sister Tillman. Let's go to verses 14 and 15 and we're done. And he fell upon his brother Benjamin's neck and wept. Benjamin wept upon his neck. Moreover, he kissed all his brethren and wept upon them. And after that, his brethren talked with him. I don't judge my handwriting, but I literally circled the words, all his brethren. Like, that stood out to me. A God of reversal. Soak everything in and tell it. Yes, Montrose McGee, all his brothers. What a family reunion, Sister Laura says. I see here that Benjamin is present, and that kind of stood out to me. What a scene of embracing all together. The brothers were speechless. There's forgiveness and reconciliation. Actions speak louder than words. Yes, free living, Romans 8:28 is in play here. The power of forgiveness and reconciliation and reunion begins. I see the reaction is the falling and crying. And we talked about it's okay for a man to cry. There are lots of men crying here in verses 14 and 15. There's more than one man crying. There's crying. There's an emotional reaction from men. There is the embracing of men. And then finally, Sister Myra says no favoritism. There's communication happening, Montrose McGee, and that's the last thing that I wrote down. And I didn't say it quite that way. I just said I wrote down the word. They talked. They talked with him, and I said, "Wow, interesting." From the people who formerly had nothing good to say about him. When we first met these brothers, they hated him so much they had nothing good to say. So lots of emotions, brotherly love, so much that you're going to dig out of here this week. We've got a ways to go as we close out this study. I will be looking forward to our time together on Thursday or Sunday. If you are teaching online, I will have a PowerPoint up for you by tomorrow night that will help you out. If you were, I will have the children's material back this week. Forgive me, last week was a little crazy. It was a good crazy, but it was crazy. And I think that's it. I'll be back here. I think you're going to get a bonus lesson review this week. So if you like bonuses, I think there are going to be a couple of uploads for you. So I think that's it, everybody. I love y'all so much. And I'm going to be studying. And I got my Logos Bible software. Anybody got your Logos Bible software? I've already pulled up my views and I've got my different Bibles open and all my commentaries are set. And I am so ready to get into this. Logos is bomb. And if you don't have it yet, I don't know what you're waiting on. If you want me to have another intro to Logos Bible software training, you got to let me know. Gabe is ready to help out. He wants us to have this, and he's always bringing something good to TSSG. So let me know. I love you all so much. Thank you for hanging out with me tonight and previewing this lesson. I will drop in the Soda Pop link in the comments, and I'll see you guys later this week. Bye. Have a good night. God bless you all. Bless you.